Welcome back to the Skid Factory. We're getting close to the pointy end of this Z project. We've given ourselves a self-imposed deadline of sorts, so we've got to have it finished for that. We have got a dyno date with Kye coming up very soon at the end of the week, so I've been busy getting everything sorted, fixing all those little things. We got it started last episode. There's a couple of little leaks, water, oil. They were both easy fixes, so it's basically just running over stuff that you haven't done up tightly, which happens on a project of this size. So the engine's all good to go. The clutch is working. I've been inside the car for the last couple of days fitting up the other bits of Haltech gear. So we've got the IC7 dash. I've got that mounted in the original surround sort of thing. I have wired in all the extra car bits to it. So we've got fuel gauge, indicators, high beam, handbrake light, that sort of stuff. So that's all in there and working, which is great. It looks really cool in there. So it's kind of a nice finishing touch. Makes it look a little bit less 90s, but you get that. I've got the 8-button keypad in there as well. That's just sitting below the stereo, and we're going to fill that keypad up with the appropriate stickers to do things like cruise control and maybe some other fancy things. I put the back of the car together. I did run into an issue where the battery didn't actually suit where we plonked it, so I've remounted that a little bit further over because the trim wasn't in there and it doesn't really work with it, so that's all right. It's in there. It's all mounted up. Everything went back together pretty easy, which is great because I didn't pull it apart, and you always have a little bit of a fun adventure trying to figure out where all these bits of plastic go. So it's looking like a car again now, and we are ready to take it down to the dyno. So let's go and see what it can do. We've got the Z bolted up to the dyno here at Knight Family Motorsport. We've got Kye with us as always, and we've gone through a few preliminary things that always have to be done with setup and that sort of thing. One thing that we have had to do is fiddle around with the cam sensor. There's a parameter in the ECU that needs to be set correctly, and I'm going to let Kye explain it because he is the master of explaining technical things.
The main thing with it is that in the ECU is that essentially each time a sensor passes a tooth, we get a pulse from high to low. What you can't have is the processor inside the ECU, it doesn't want to process two signals at exactly the same time. So if you had a crank tooth and a cam tooth line up exactly on top of each other, you can get it where it can be, especially with a timing belt, where what you can have is that those two teeth will be, sometimes one will come before the other time the other one may be after it, and what you can get there is where you can get discrepancies in the measured ignition timing on the engine. So what we've done is we've moved the cam sensor into a position that is away from the crank synchronization point, just to eliminate that ever being a problem.
So this is called in Haltech language percentage of home travel, and it was flashing at me once we set up the ECU that it was too close. So it wants to be between 25 and 75%, so in the middle between the crank teeth. So we've sorted that. This Ross kit has an adjustment on it, so we didn't have to pull anything apart. We basically just moved that around until we found a nice spot for it. So that's all done. Kye's checked for spark wander, so revved it up to 4,000 RPM and made sure that the spark stays where it's got to stay. If it moves, then there's adjustments in the ECU to account for that, but with this type of trigger system that didn't happen, so all good. And we're just about to, I don't know, give it some initial runs.
Yeah, we're about to start doing some, we'll do some, essentially, we're running this motor in as well at the same time. That's right. So it's a fresh engine, so we're going to go through all the light load, steady state tuning, which is a really good way to seat the rings and stuff like that. Puts a good, it's like you know, puts a good amount of load on the engine without idling it too much, all that sort of stuff. But we're not going to be beating the hell out of it. Then we'll probably move through, if everything looks smooth, we'll move through to some wastegate pulls on E10. It's got E10 in the car at the moment. That's going to be, it's low octane fuel, it's going to be E10 because it's cheap. And yeah, then we'll keep on going from there. Might do an oil change somewhere through there.
And, we'll definitely need to do that. So you reckon this is going to outpower the Barra of Woody?
The Barra, we'll see. We don't have enough fuel. It's only a single fuel pump. I think we'll be limited by that. But
Otherwise,
we'll see.
it would just destroy.
Righto, let's do a back-to-back run. I'll pop mine on after. How about that?
Cool story, bro. All right, let's get stuck into it.
Let's do it.
A couple of bystanders come past today. We've got Rowan here. Hey mate, how are you?
Good.
Gav one. How you going? How's the Hacko going, Gav?
Yeah, good man, good.
Good?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Nice.
Yeah, Kye's going to put a 200 shot on it after this.
Oh, there we go. So I've got 3 cars on the dyno today and the Barra.
Yeah, we'll calibrate that now.
This is not 1,000 kilometres an hour like they usually are. Gates were open at about 7, I think.
Because we're at partial throttle, that's only 40% throttle.
You get so used to dyno days, you just know what Kye's going to do. I'll do a bit of steady state, then he'll do a partial throttle, then he'll bump the throttle up a bit and maybe a 70%.
That's all it's got in it, 300, it's done.
Are we done? Back on the trailer. How you going, Kye? Everything looking good?
Looks good. It's happy. It's like the pressure has come down just with temperature, because we had to drop it before, and now it's like too low. That nut on the fuel pressure eggs, the Kye Knight,
Yeah.
the base pressure's like dropped.
Hasn't blown the hose off or something? No.
No, it wouldn't. No, it'd be like terrible if it done that. No,
I mean, I can check it. It's hot down there. I did burn myself, so. But I'm sure I did it up tight.
yeah. Well, either way, we're gonna have to just bump it back up again because it's come down. Like,
Block's built up from the tank element. It was still pretty dirty, bro. We've seen it before.
so we're gonna have to lift it back up again.
Filters on the rail. I can get underneath it and pull it off and check. That's what my money would be on.
Just turn the thing up.
It's even at idle, it's low. Like it's like it's come down. It used to be at 48, then we set it to 43 before. Now it's come down to like 37.
No, it was 43 originally.
Well, yeah, but then when we checked it this morning, it was like 48,
Yeah, okay.
49. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it had always been 43 before.
Yeah. So now it's at like 38, so we need to come back up again.
What'd you say, that's all on what?
That's all with the cam advance. So at the moment, like as
Oh,
soon
you
as
haven't actually done the retard thing yet.
Yeah. So essentially, that's with the VCT on the whole time. So it's when it's on, it goes to the advanced setting.
Yeah.
So that's like but I have seen frequently a lot of RBs literally just make look out everywhere with advanced. Like,
Okay.
so we can see what we'll do is if it anywhere it might be above 6,000 with maybe 6,000 or 6,500 or maybe 6,200. See how the torque starts to roll off. We might switch it off there. We'll see if it picks up or if it wants to keep going. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But I've also seen it before where you do it and it makes literally no difference. Like they make more power advance than they do in the other position. So.
Note to self, don't worry about VCT on your 25-30.
30-25.
25-25.
I've seen this before though. I've seen it multiple times that they pretty well just make, and under all the normal, maybe if we were revving it, like maybe if it was bigger and it was revving to 9,000 RPM or something, you would see a benefit in it. But in like most street stuff, like tamer street stuff, there's literally like everywhere from, let's say, 1,500 to 7,500. There's like, it just wants to be advanced the whole time.
What's stopping you from revving it to 9,000?
It's already rolling over. It's telling us, it's like, no, I have little turbo.
Would stock cams be a considerable change there though?
Even, I've seen stock cam stuff, depending on where it was, where even stock cam stuff just preferred to be advanced the whole time as well. So, it's, yeah.
All that extra effort with
I think,
AM lines.
I think
and
there's
everything.
actually, this is probably where you can do, you know that Aaron Boostock, he does I think it's an adjustable VCT, so it gives you like a bigger range essentially, because like, and this is typical of what I see, is that like that would suggest it's like, well, if it wants to be advanced the whole time, does it actually want that to be the 0 point and then be able to go more advanced than that? You know what I mean? Like. Alright, so we're just pumping the fuel tank out. We've done what we needed to do on E10. We're pretty happy. We pulled it up around 15 pounds of boost. It made basically 450 the hubs on that. So yeah, we were, as Al said, that's more than enough for Kye to get to the shops, I think.
Yep. That's why I've got traction control buttons and shit on the keypad. While we got the fuel tank empty of E10, putting E85 in it now, Kye is doing a low-level calibration of the fuel gauge for the dash. So you can wire that factory gauge wiring straight into the dash. You just got to know your top and your bottom level. So we got the bottom level. Later on, I'll have to fill it right up and then basically put in the top level. The bottom level is obviously the most important. We've drained the E10 out and filled up with E85 now, so we're good to start on that E85 side of the tune, which is obviously going to be the more serious power production. We're pretty happy with 450 on E10 though. That's pretty lazy, so it'll be good for just daily driving. We've also changed the oil because it had running in oil in it, so the running in process was done on the dyno, which is the best way of doing it. So that's all good. Kye has cut open the oil filter to see if there's any material inside the filter, which is the best way to check whether anything's going wrong, and I think you reported it was clean as a whistle.
It's perfect, yeah. Nothing nasty.
So that's a good thing. Now we can get stuck into some power production.
Before we start pumping in the boost, we've got a fresh 300ZX shirt. So fresh, I don't even have one to wear. There's going to be a design popping up right about here. There is a link in the description to hit the merch store. Get your hands on one. Thank you everyone for the support. Back to some E85 goodness.
Loud noises.
gates crack, it's on, isn't it? It's loud.
Not that bad in here.
It's loud outside.
They're plumb back though.
They've gone back to atmosphere, yeah. It's like they come on at separate times too, until you can hear it. It's like a...
Twin turbo light, right?
How come there's no Kudushes like Danny's car fighting against each other?
Because they're proper turbos.
Do, 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 do.
This is the only thing I can see that's slightly, it doesn't concern me, but it's just like I can just sort of see what's going to happen here is that you see, like, even at this power level, we're already seeing that the fuel pressure is dropping to 43.3 across the injector, whereas you see, I put it on there, at idle it's 48 is the base pressure, so it's already, and then you see it jumps up when I get off it, so it's already starting to show signs it's struggling to hold base pressure, so we'll see. Hopefully, it'll keep on, it'll get it still. I think we're right on the tipping point of the pump, which is typical. Like a single 525 generally around 600 on E85 is pretty well what I see. And so you just see and then you can see, I can probably make it bigger.
Yeah, I can see.
You can see, and this one's bigger. The fuel pressure is this yellow line here. You can see it's just starting to nose 42.7 over the injector. And then I go up to, you see obviously it jumps up to 50, but the base pressure, I've actually got it on the dash there, the base pressure is 48, so it's kind of, we're sort of 6 pound down up there. From previous experience, it's going to go like a slippery slope from here. If we put more boost in, it'll be like, for a little bit of cool, it'll even a little bit more fuel burn in the engine, it'll start to really, the pump pressure will drop pretty savagely, but...
Apart from fuel system, when were those turbos run out of pump? What do you reckon?
No idea.
Well, we'll see soon. I think what we'll do is we might throw a little bit more at it. We'll see if they've got it, if they can hang. You know what I mean?
We can get to 667.
Can we then single swap it and Hawkins test?
Ow.
I know Alan doesn't care, but as soon as it makes more power, he's going to rub that in so much.
You know this.
It's like nonsense. But yes.
Can we just like my dyno go back up and then change your correction?
Yeah, that's what I said to do.
Oh, I said yours.
Just change it now and then I can float for a bit. Job done. Victory! The mighty RB.
That was pushing oil then hard.
Yeah. Not surprised, that's what they do.
That was basically all the turbos I got.
Is that it, you reckon?
Not, maybe with different wastegate spring, but with the current boost control system, basically from 6,000 out, it was like 100% G.
That's pretty good to go from 7 to 28.
Yeah, we saw 29.
Doing all right.
Yeah. I was like, 29 pounds. Yeah.
Kye, what's your opinion? Twins or single?
That worked pretty good. We both know though that
If it had a G35 on it, it'd probably make more power.
Same thing, you know what I mean? It's not.
That's not the point. It's supposed to look like
It
that.
definitely looks cool, though. I get it. It looks sick.
It's got the clear hoses and everything. It's a 90s JDM hero.
Yeah.
That's job done on the tune on the Z. It's pretty much exceeded my expectations of what I thought mainly the turbos would make. So they're pretty much maxed out now, and the fuel system's probably not far away from it. So pretty good result. Massive thanks as always to Kye for putting the expertise in and the ones and zeros and all that. what do you think about this setup, mate?
I think it's done really well. It's cool to see I know you're putting those turbos to work. You just had them sort of sitting around more or less. They're definitely doing the job. It's got a really lovely broad power band. They got us to, what was it, 670 or whatever at the hub, which is definitely enough to have fun in, I think. You'd definitely be able to go get groceries with that, I would think.
Yes, cool.
Yeah.
670, by my reckoning, is a little bit more than 666, isn't it?
I think so. I think it's slightly more than.
Let me do some quick math.
Just a little bit. Not that we.
666 is what Woody's car made, isn't it?
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just, you got to have a goal, right?
All right, I'm going to come back next week with
More boost.
Like, as Woody said, when we went to road trip, we actually turned Woody's car up, and it hasn't been back on the dyno again, but it definitely goes faster than it did.
Heard it here first, Alan.
No.
What's a mile an hour, bro? What's a mile an hour? Oh.
This one's got no mile an hour, so
hasn't
definitely yours is winning at the moment.
But no, it'll be good to see the car back fully finished off with all the bits and pieces. We'll go then, we'll do all the little road things, set up the cruise control and traction control and all that sort of stuff. Has to be on the street to do that sort of stuff. And then, yeah, I guess you've got to just get out and enjoy it.
Yeah, I reckon. So it's time for roadworthy certificates and whatnot. And I've got to do obviously something with the front bar, but we'll get to that. Take it back to the shed, check her all over, wipe off all the oil that's underneath it, and move on.
You press the button in. That way, straight. Oh, that was close. This way more. You're a manual expert.
I was going to say, I speak from experience. I have a big, nasty button clutch, which
Next time, next episode on the Skid Factory, we teach you how to install a clutch slipper when you go racing.
Twin plate non-button.
Oh.
Next time at the Skid Factory, we learn how to take the gearbox out at the track.
Oh, we find out how strong the axles really are. Oh, can you open that door? No, yeah, sweet.
That's how far the ZX is.
Right, with those wheels?
No. I just mean like with a 25-30.
Oh, yeah, true.
Like it's still a 300, you know,
Yeah,
it's still
yeah.
a 3 litre. That's what that should have been.
Alright, this day and age, I reckon a VG30 with some technology.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing, apart from the fact they're just really nasty to work on.
Yeah.
You know, like I think architecture.
Well, you freshen it up these days though and get rid of all the crap underneath in that manifold. I don't know.
Probably be good for 671 horsepower, I reckon.
Successful dyno session has been achieved, and pretty happy with the power output, and the thing is behaving itself for the most part. The clutch is a bit cranky, which is probably going to exclude my wife from wanting to drive it ever, so I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, but we'll explore that later. We'd obviously love to take it out and drive it, but at the moment it's not registered, so it doesn't have licensing to drive on the road. We've got to work through that. I have got a mod plate for it. It's obviously legal. It's pretty much exactly the same as what I had in it before, except the engine's straight instead of V'd, so that's no problem. I've got some paint work to do, so we've got to get onto that. There's a little bit of, well, the whole car really needs a respray for it to be spot on, but we'll investigate that at some point. So hopefully we'll try and get it on the road with the original front bar and stuff on it, just so it makes it easier for us to test things out and you know, see how it actually performs driving it. Maybe do a little bit of different motorsport other than just drag racing. It's obviously an all-rounder. It's got a fair bit of power, so it can drag race it, although manual transmission does make that quite challenging, but that's part of the fun as well. Could probably put it on a circuit, maybe some roll racing, the way that Kye has set up the anti-lag and all that sort of stuff. It sort of makes it useful for multiple types of motorsport activity, which is awesome. So that'll be, I suppose, the next thing that this car will go through. I'm sure Woody will like to tag along and see how it goes at some point, whenever that might be. At the start of this series, you obviously would have seen me talking about this being the last car that I'm going to build on the skid factory, and that is partially true. It's the last car that I'm going to build as the host of the skid factory. That role is going to be handed over to Woody, so obviously I'd encourage you to keep watching and see what he can do. He's a pretty talented bloke, has done all the video editing and everything on this show, other than me standing in front of you talking shit about how random machines work. Someone else has been doing all the stuff to put the show together, so please continue to support him in his endeavours. Pretty big deal for a young fella to take on this sort of project. It's a lot of work, and which is one of the reasons why I'm hanging up the hat of hosting, because I don't want to do it anymore because of the workload. What I do want to do is continue to build cars, because that is my job and my passion. So I will be continuing to do that. I've got a heap of projects lined up for me to build in the shed, and if they're interesting enough and Woody's keen enough, he's going to come along and film them, probably maybe halfway through and at the end, whatever. So you get to see the cool stuff, you just don't get to see the bits about me talking shit about every little bit of that particular car. But I'm sure I can save up all those shit talks and join them into one thing that you can understand, maybe. So that's what's going to happen for me. Woody's got a brand new workspace ready to go, the new skid factory, or skid factory 2.0, or however you want to call it. So that's pretty exciting for him. So check it out. I think he's going to show you around it next week. So keep watching and see what's going to happen next, I guess. And you will see me both on the skid factory, and I'm also going to help the MCM guys out a bit if you watch that channel as well. So I do enjoy working on cars, as you know, so I am looking forward to that in my future, doing cool stuff and making cars go fast. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this journey for me over the last nearly 7 years, I think. It's been enjoyable, but it's time to hang up the hat for me. So see you next time, and tune in next week for the wood factory. See you later.
Do it again! That's wild! Can you make mine do that?
So that's how it works. So it's like whatever you can do it, we'll do it at lower RPM so it's not so wild, but you can just hold it to 3 grand, hold it. Yeah. So you can do that.
Spends 5 minutes in the aircon.
I can't see anything.
Wipe your glasses off.
I'm going to draw dicks on my lenses.
Stay tuned for a preview of the new shed next week. This has been my dream for so long, and I'm finally getting somewhere. It's been such a massive process. I've got a huge 2024 lined up with some awesome projects, so stay tuned. Don't forget about the 300ZX shirts. Get them while they are in stock. Thank you everyone for the support. Thank you for the positive comments. I'll see you next week with the new shed. Let's do it.